I'm AJ.
I'm Satin,
And welcome to Rooted in Real, where genuine conversation meets grounded perspective. Welcome to episode 5
Episode 5
of the
Give us
Rooted
a
in
hand
Real
clap.
podcast.
Give us a hand clap.
Hey. So today we are talking about what to look for in a spouse. So we did the 5 love languages last week, and we thought it would be a good segue to talk about what you should be looking for in your life partner.
In your life partner.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Hopefully a spouse.
Yes.
But your life partner.
And we are going to give you some biblical traits or a biblical perspective from that as well. Give you some scriptures to back that up.
Yes. So looking it up, one of the first things, and you know what, actually, I'm going to say this.
Okay.
It's not on the list technically of key qualities to look for.
Yes.
But I feel like physical attraction.
Yes.
I ain't gonna say it should be number 1, but it should definitely be up there because generally when you meet someone, the first thing you notice is if you're attracted to the person or not. Now there are instances, there are instances where you may not have felt that they were that attractive, and then you got to know them and their personality and everything else about them shine through.
Right.
But you still have to be able to say that I am attracted to this person. I am willing to have physical intimacy with this person. When we get old, you know, like, am I still going to want to do things with you that I want to do with you now?
Right. Physical attractiveness also helps build their character attractiveness as well.
Yes.
Yes. When because you people have said it, like, your character is just ugly. Like, you may seem like you're a physically beautiful person, but your character changes and transforms how I see you.
It changes it all.
Yes, it changed my visual for you.
So now you're ugly.
Now you're ugly.
And I don't find you attractive in the least because your character is bad. So I get it. Yes. Character is number 1, but physical attractiveness should not be like nothing.
Put to the wayside.
It shouldn't be thrown to the wayside, but you shouldn't base everything on the fact that you're physically attracted to them.
Right.
But I do feel like it should be towards the top.
Absolutely. Positively. I agree.
Hey, buddy, can I help you?
It says...
What do you need? You're hungry. Okay, I'll help you in just a minute. Let me finish this with Satin, and then I will help you get something to eat.
Hooray!
Hooray. Okay, emotional intelligence and maturity. So that is the ability to empathize, manage their own emotions, and forgive, allowing for conflict resolution rather than just fighting.
That's right. Absolutely.
That is a big problem in a lot of relationships and why they don't work, because one person at least they don't have the maturity to have a conversation and detail their emotions. Yeah. And not just say, I'm mad, sad, happy. Like, there's other emotions in the realm.
The depths.
Besides the big couple.
That's right. So
not being able to vocalize how I'm feeling, which is one thing I'm trying to teach my kids. Yes. When I'm saying they're irritated, I'm like, okay, so are you frustrated? And why did that frustrate you? And then, you know, just things like that, like naming your emotions and being able to say, hey, you know what? That's on me because I let you take me out of my character when I should have been able to vocalize like, hey, I don't enjoy that. I don't like that. Or I do like when you do this and I like when you do that.
Absolutely. And I think that goes back to, you know, we talked about in the first few episodes how we're trying to raise self-actualized children. Yes. Children that understand, they can be able to vocalize, communicate. And a lot of us wasn't raised that way.
Right.
We weren't raised to be able to speak. You were told to be seen and not heard. Mm-hmm. And so your opinion, in a sense, didn't matter. And you were taught that. So that the things and the traits that you learned as a child, those translated to when you become an adult, and then you don't know how to articulate and communicate. And so therefore, when it goes to looking for a spouse or looking for someone that's going to be your life partner, you don't even know how to, you know, you don't have the emotional intelligence and maturity to be able to do so.
Truth. Okay. You want to read the second one?
Yes, the second one is communication skills. A willingness to talk through problems, listen actively, and work together on solutions. A partnership.
Active listening.
Yes.
Is difficult.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially if we're having a conversation where things might be heated, or you feel like you might even already have your preconceived notion that I'm right, you wrong.
Right.
So now I have to sit here and actively listen to you speak and not just listen to talk.
Yes, or listen to respond.
Yes, and wait for you to finish so that I can just say something back. Right. Or you already, like, you talking for 5 minutes and I only heard the first thing you said and I'm like, ooh, I already got a response. So you're not even listening to the rest of the stuff that you're saying. Like, I'm not even listening to what you got to say.
That's right.
So you have to pay attention and actively listen to be able to respond correctly or with the empathy that we're looking for from the first one.
And it says a willingness to talk through. There can't be any hesitation or resistance in the communication skills. Like we said, not listening just to respond, but I'm willingly and actively involved in the conversation, to the dialogue, to move it along. One of the things that me and my husband discussed when we first went into marriage counseling prior to or premarital counseling before we got married, is that he made it clear to me, because again, I think I said in the first few episodes that I'm not a confrontational person, but I'm not afraid of confrontation.
You are not.
I'm very much of let's vocalize this and let's get it out. And that didn't, because I didn't have a great foundation in how to properly communicate. The way that I would communicate was very aggressive, very brash, and it was also very loud. I mean, I'm a loud individual anyway, but it was a lot of yelling as opposed
to some lovingness to
yeah,
it.
not
like,
any
I'm not
lovingness
raising my
to
voice
it.
and emotion, raising
Right.
your voice because you're yelling at that man.
Right, just yelling at that man, screaming at that man, all up in his face.
Poor man.
And when we were in premarital counseling, the thing he said is, I don't mind us yelling and screaming and having an argument. And I was like, fantastic, because that is the way I'm about. You know, you sometimes you're just like, that's, I don't even have to change who I am. But he said, but there is a caveat. And the caveat was, if yelling and screaming is going to help and benefit our relationship and move us forward, we can yell and scream all we want. But if it's not going to benefit us, if it's not going to make us stronger and it's not going to help us come close together and get to a solution, then we are absolutely not yelling and screaming. So there was a lot of times in our relationship in the beginning, in the long time that we've been together, I'll say that, the length of time that we've been together, that I have argued by myself and I have yelled by myself and screamed by myself.
Wasn't gonna help.
And he stayed there present. Stayed there present. He is
just
such
taking it.
such a patient man. He probably checked out.
Yeah, he's like, okay, she doing one of her things again. And
yeah,
I'm
the
just
patience of the Lord was on his side. And he probably just was like, okay, whatever, she needs to get this out, because he understood early on, of course, because we were familiar with each other, very familiar with each other before we got together, that my way of communicating wasn't necessarily the most stable or the most, solid for anyone else. Yeah. So he already understood that the way I went about things was a little bit unorthodox. And so
he was willing to work that out.
He was willing to work it out. So absolutely being actively listening and willing to listen, he was like, yeah, we can do whatever. I'm here for it, as long as it's going to benefit us.
As long as it brings us closer together.
That's right, as long as it brings us closer together.
All right, this next one is shared core values and goals. So alignment on major life aspects, including finances, children, faith, and career ambitions.
Yes.
That's a big one.
Biblically,
that's
we say that
being
equally yoked.
Being equally yoked. That's the biggest thing. So, like, if you decide that you want to be something other than a Christian, and we are, like, we start off and we are.
Right.
Or, like, I'm talking to you, we get to know each other, and you're like, I don't really believe in none of that.
Right.
That is going to make
it
it
a deal
difficult.
Breaker. It can be a deal breaker.
It can be a deal breaker. If you... depends on how you're looking at things, and if, like, God is like, hey, listen, that's still your man.
Right.
Maybe you're going to be the one to fix it, but you also can't just decide to yourself that, like, I'm telling myself that it's going to be fine.
Right.
Because it can, and especially if that person doesn't agree for you to be able to teach the children the way that you want to teach the children. Now, if they agree that, hey, y'all can go to church and y'all can do this, y'all can do that. I'm not going to fight you on doing any of that, then maybe it'll be fine.
Right, and I think some of the foundational differences, of course, of how you rear kids and how, like I said, you go about faith and finances and career ambitions. You may marry a man that is 100% a traditionalist, and he a biblical traditionalist. I'll say that because there's different, they call them triad wives and stuff like that.
Triad wives, yeah.
Right. He may very well be the type of person to say, yes, I want my wife to be able to stay home and take care of our kids. And you may very well be one of those people like, no, I want to have a career and I want to
go to work.
So I think that's. Of course, premarital counseling is a must. Please go to premarital counseling. I mean, this is not an ad for it, but definitely do it because
you should definitely at least have it because you might think that we're cool. Like I like you, we seem compatible, but maybe you've not even talked about some of the bigger issues that will come up.
Because you don't even know to talk about the bigger issues.
Yes, because you've never been married.
Right, you're in the honeymoon phase the entire time.
Yeah, I like you. You
rainbows, candy canes, and unicorns.
Yes, and you propose, and we're gonna do this, but then you haven't talked about any of the big things that matter for a relationship to last.
That's
for the longevity of the marriage.
When we did marital counseling, I think after pretty much every meeting, we walked away mad. We walked away upset because it really caused you to be introspective and look into yourself and say, okay, maybe these behaviors and these attitudes and these thoughts are not conducive to me being connected and in a relationship with another person for the rest of my life. And so it's absolutely important to have shared core values and goals because, again, like you said, religious, political, a lot of things that, can maybe able to be overlooked while you're dating somebody, but it absolutely can't be overlooked when you have children.
When it's time to do children.
Yeah.
And like finances, money is like one of the number one killers of a relationship.
Absolutely.
So if you don't agree, like, of course, there's usually a spender and a saver in a relationship.
Yes.
Because if both of y'all spenders, it ain't gonna work. If both of y'all savers, y'all gonna never have no fun.
That's
so
right.
somebody's got to be a spender, somebody has to be a saver, generally. But you have to be able to talk about that sort of thing. You can't just leave it to the imagination of, oh, why do you keep spending money?
Right. And you also need to write it down and make it plain. The Bible tells us to write the vision and make it plain. You need to have a vision for your marriage. You need to have a vision for your spouse. And I know a lot of people, they have lists. I want a man that's 6 feet tall, and I want a man to make 6 figures. And all that's great and fine and dandy until you get into reality. And nothing's wrong with having those things, but some things need to be adjusted according to the lifestyle in which you truly want to have, because those things don't resonate long term.
Right. They don't stay.
They don't stay long term.
That man ain't gonna be 6 foot when y'all 80 because he gonna shrink.
He gonna shrink. You know, and
he
the
ain't
body
making $100,000 no more either.
That's right. That's right.
Old.
You retire, and the body you have in your 20s might not be the body you have in your 30s. And that's not to say that you can't work out and do the things, but you know, life, menopause, they hit you
things
fast.
Change.
It hits
things
you fast.
change.
And so those topics definitely need to be discussed when we're talking about finances and children and faith and ambition. You know, there are a lot of people, like you see, you see them on television and stuff where couples have been together 10, 15 years, and then all of a sudden, you know, as a woman reaches her peak and maybe she may reevaluate herself and decide she wants kids, or maybe the husband decides, you know, hey, I think that we would like to have, we want more kids. I want to have kids. And she might be, I am in my 40s or in my 50s. I'm done. I don't want to do that. And so, you know, if you work those things out in the beginning, and already know what we're doing. You know, and again, when you're setting yourself up to figure out what you want to look for in a spouse, I think any list you make should not be a concrete list. It should not be just mainly these are the things, and if I don't get these are my bottom line. Yeah,
you need to have things that are non-negotiable.
Yes, and things that are negotiable.
And things that are negotiable.
Absolutely.
Somebody talking to you crazy is not negotiable.
It's not. No, they're talking to you sideways.
Yeah, that's not.
That is not the person for you.
No,
that is not the person for you.
Respect is always here.
Respectability, yes.
Go ahead.
Character and integrity, trustworthiness, honesty, generosity, and humility. Ooh, humility is something that, Lord.
So let's start with trust.
Ego.
Trustworthiness.
Yes, trustworthiness.
Okay, so being trustworthy, knowing that you can trust your person, knowing that they're not going to deceive you, that they're not lying to you. If they start doing stuff like that when you're just dating, like that, and it's usually the little things that people just overlook and say like, well, they didn't do anything.
It's the little foxes is what the Lord says.
They dig the hole, it would ruin the whatever. So it's usually that kind of stuff that people are like, well, he's not lying about anything big, or she's not lying about nothing big. It's just little stuff. But then you don't ever address the little lies.
That's right.
And so eventually they feel like they become
over
on all
lies.
the lies.
Yes.
Yeah. So then you're wondering, well, where did this come from?
That's right.
It was back when you were dating them. They were not the most trustworthy person, and you just overlooked it because they had other good qualities.
Right.
But trustworthiness is one of those ones that I feel like should be at the top.
It's absolutely at the top. And you can be able to witness those in everyday life, not just in the relationships, the romantic relationships that they have with you. When you're dating somebody or courting somebody, or you're getting involved or getting to know them, in that phase, you see how they interact with, you know, let's say their parents. And if you're a person, and if you're a person that comes from a household in which they have two parents, and in which you grew up seeing a loving relationship and seeing the yin and the yang and the trust of how your dad and your mom work together, or your aunt and your aunt and uncle work together, and then you get into a relationship with someone, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to look for that exact examples, because a lot of things you see up front are not truly what it is. It's just, you know, what is presented to you. But when you get into a relationship with someone, you're just like, oh, I've seen how my aunt and my uncle were very trustworthy with each other, and I know what that quality looks like.
Yes.
I know what that character.
That's what you've been shown.
Yeah, I know what how that character should play out in a relationship. And when you get in a relationship, and you're like, okay, that's a gray flag. That's a gray flag.
Not gray.
Yeah, gray. You know what I mean? Gray.
I have been told there are orange flags or yellow flags.
Yellow
so you
flags.
got the red, the green, and some yellow.
Mixture. It's a mixture. Yeah. And so I think it's important. The trustworthiness is at the top of the list, and then honesty, and generosity and humility.
Generosity, I feel like it's one thing when you see how your person acts with other people when it comes to being generous.
Yes.
Like when they're talking to their friends, or they're talking to you about their friends, they're like, man, I'm not finna do nothing for him, or I'm not doing nothing for her. Like, wait a minute, why, if that's supposed to be one of your top tier friends, if you watch that episode, if that's one of your top tier friends that you claim y'all are so good together, y'all are, you know, best friends,
right? But
you're never showing them any kind of generosity, or even like going to a restaurant and tipping somebody, tipping the waitress that was really good to y'all.
Right.
You trying to tell me that you're gonna leave her a 50-cent tip because that's what's left on, like, you know, the bill was $29.50. So you just leave her a 50-cent tip to make it 30?
That's right.
That's not what we do here. So and just showing that kind of thing and showing how you are generous in other aspects of your life shows me how you're gonna be with me.
That's right. Because generosity it extends far beyond just the financial aspect of what we consider generosity. It's generosity with your time. It's generosity with your love. It's generosity with, you know, your patience and your presence. You know, like we talked about the 5 love languages in episode, episode 4, when we talked about the love language. It's more than just the generosity of giving your finances. It's the generosity of how do I give my time to you? You know, am I just being very present and very active in making sure that I give you what I have when you need it, in measured form. And then humility is absolutely, you need someone that is going to be able to operate in humility. And I'm not talking about someone who allows themselves to be run over.
Right. Yes. That's different.
Yeah, that's different.
We're not talking.
Yeah, that's passive. You know, you need someone that has a voice and is not afraid to be able to speak up, but you also need someone to recognize when maybe they may not be the expert in this situation, or their knowledge that they may have may not necessarily be right to present itself right now. Because you do have a lot of people who are super intelligent. I know we talked about emotional intelligence earlier. You do have people that are super intelligent, but they don't know when is the right time.
They don't have the emotional intelligence.
Right. They don't have the
emotional IQ is low.
Yeah, the EQ is low.
Yes,
the IQ is high, but the EQ is low. Yes.
And they don't understand when they should and shouldn't say things, and when what they're saying is a humble brag. That's right. Things like that, when you just need to learn to keep your mouth shut sometimes.
That's right. That's absolutely correct.
Like, I don't need to be... When you are having something go on and you're like, "Oh, girl, I just got this new car," I don't need to be like, "Well, I got one 5 years ago."
Right.
Like, I've been got like.
Yeah, you're not competing.
I'm not competing with you. I'm listening. I am enjoying, and I'm happy for you.
I'm celebrating your wins.
Celebrating your wins. That's why you get to talk to your friends.
That's how you get to talk to your friends. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. The next one is supportiveness and partnership. Someone who encourages your growth, celebrates your success, celebrate the wins, and supports you in challenges. Ooh. Absolutely.
Yes. Encouraging your growth is the biggest thing, I think. I keep saying that, but it's one of the biggest aspects of a relationship. And it didn't even have to be a marriage on that one, but like encouraging the person that you're talking to, their growth in life.
That's right.
So like I meet you in my 20s. I should not be the same person in my 30s and 40s.
That's right.
And you shouldn't be encouraging me.
You should be a better version of yourself.
Yes, you should never be encouraging me to be like, "Well, girl, you used to do this and you don't do that no more." Well, I'm 30 now.
That's right.
I've matured.
We discussed that in our first few episodes, especially when I gave the example about having the 3 types of people that I feel like you should have in your life: someone that you pour into, someone that is on your level, and someone that you aspire to be. And so in your 20s, who you are, that y'all are on the same level. But in your 30s, you may need to aspire to be more. And so you want someone who can see your potential.
Right.
And can pour into that.
And help you pull yourself forward.
That's right. Pull yourself forward.
Yes, because William talks about that a lot with me. Like, that man straight up married me based on potential.
But based on potential.
He married me based on potential, and I know I disappointed that man multiple. I know I did at the beginning. Like, I was very driven. I got my degree, and then it was like after that, I had nothing.
I've completed the task.
I completed the task that I've been working for however long at this point. Like, it took me 7 years to get this degree.
Right.
Now what? I didn't have a vision for what things look like after that.
Yeah.
And so he still does. He still is like, "Hey, what do you want to do?" I mean, this podcast, he was super supportive of. He's like, "I want you to have something that you can pour into and that pours into you. Like, I want you to have a thing that's going to help you grow."
Absolutely.
He was very excited about this. And I was like, see, supportive partner.
Supportive partner. Encourages your growth.
Encourages your growth. Yeah. But they also celebrate your success.
Yes, absolutely.
He's watched all of our episodes, and he was just discussing with us different things, and he is, I mean, super excited. He's celebrating our successes.
Yes.
The subscribers, because like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you very much.
And share.
Come back. Okay.
Yes, my brother gave me a call, and he was celebrating the success of just me starting a podcast.
Yeah.
He knows who I am and the things I've experienced, and he also knows just, where I've been and, being at home and to myself. And again, like I said, my family is not, when I grew up, we weren't very vocal with love and affection and attention, but over the years, as we have gotten older, we had children and we've able to pour into them something sometimes I don't think, again, initially that we recognized that we may be lacking, but we got with a partner whose family was in that way that they showed love and they were able to share one of their love languages of words of affirmations. And so that's what he's done. And when he called me, I was like, oh, thank you. You know, and he just was like, I'm very proud of you. I listen to your podcast. And now for my brother to listen to my podcast, he's a very busy man. He has things going on. He ain't got time to be listening to no podcast. But for him to listen to my podcast, he made time. He made time.
Because you're important to him.
I'm important to him. When I was a child, I wanted to be my brother. He was just the life he lived. I was like, I want to be you. I want to be you. He like had his talent show that they used to participate in. It was called the Who's Who's. And I wanted to be in the talent show. My love for music came from him. Aww. My love for dance and wanted to be involved in that. And like he had a huge like friend group that, you know, they were just all together. Mm-hmm. Like it was just like, you know, the vibes of the 90s. Yeah. You know, I was younger in the 90s and you know, he was in the 80s, the late 80s, and it was just that whole vibe of it. But he called and he gave me words of encouragement and words of support, and he also, you know, gave me critique and helped me to see maybe where my blind sides are, you know. And so I think, you know, we talked about humility. That's exactly, you know, that's part of it. I have to be humble enough to be able to receive it, and even if I am a confrontational person or I always have something to say, be able to receive what he says in a loving manner, because he's not saying it or he's not expressing it to you know, beat me down, even though I know I mentioned in the episode that my family would tear you down. You know, that was when I was younger. You know, we don't do that anymore. Yeah, we don't do that anymore. We know better, we do better. And when we had children, he decided to do that. And so I humbly was able to submit myself unto his authority, because he is older than me, and his leadership and his life experiences that he's, you know, lived through. Yeah. And so he was able to give me sound wisdom and advice. And
we did talk about this the other day when you were here, when this tree fell in my yard. Anyway, this whole thing. But
that's
about how
help spawn your word for the week, which was peace.
Yes, but sometimes your friends will tell you things and they'll disagree with things from you, or they'll give you different words that are not encouraging, that you feel like aren't encouraging.
That's
anyway.
right.
But when it comes from a person that you genuinely care about and respect,
yes,
it doesn't matter how they say it to you.
That's right.
You understand that person is looking for you to be the best version of yourself.
That's right.
They want you to be great.
That's
and you can, I mean, it might make you sad initially, like, dang, why should I say it like that? But when you go past that and just think about what the person has said, and you're like, you know what, I can reflect on that. Yeah, not take offense to what they said, but reflect on how that can make you be a better person, because you know. Now, this doesn't work for people that you don't have a great relationship with. You're going to ignore that and move on. Absolutely. But somebody like her, like, and William and my friend Brittany, and like if they were to tell me something that I know, like I need to work on.
Yes.
I might be a little hurt by the way it was said, but I just need to move on and get over it and think about and reflect on how I can be a better person.
Right. It's betterness. It's to better you. The supportiveness and partnerships. One thing that you mentioned about the tree falling on your house, and it says supports you in your challenges.
Yeah.
Now,
you were here. Well, I appreciate it. She brought us a generator. Like, I appreciate it.
It might not have seemed like, you know, there was any support to offer, because I mean, for me, I didn't recognize it.
And she was about to leave. She brought the generator. I was on the phone with like the insurance company. Yeah. She brought the generator and was like waving at me. I said, sit down. Right. Sit down. Where are you going?
Yeah, because my thought process was simple. In times of chaos or things going on, I need to focus and handle things. That's the way I handle things. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't necessarily need people around. I'm not looking for support. If I need you, I'll, you know, reach out to you or call you. So if something is going on and it's kind of chaotic, I absolutely will just be like, okay, I need you to stay, or I need you to do this. I'll vocalize it or not, but I don't want people there. And you were like,
I didn't know that. I don't know what I need. Yes. This kind of thing doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't.
So, but when I saw you leaving, I was like, no, come back.
Right. And it was then you
ended up being here all day.
I ended up being here all day long.
Went with me to go pick up my kids. We took her car to go pick up my kids, so my husband could use the car to do something else.
But I had such a blast. There. I mean, when I got home and I was narrating the events of the day, and I do mean narrating, because everything for me is an adventure. When you have limited excitement in your life.
That was a very exciting.
It was exciting. There was a turtle on fish murder.
My turtle did eat one
of
the fish.
We had the Three Stooges cutting down a tree.
Yeah, it was great.
Granted, now these were not Three Stooges, you know, but these were what I gave the names to, because in my narration, this was a story. And by the time I finished telling the story with my kids, they were like, you had an exciting time today. Now, was it exciting for her? Absolutely not. It was terrible. But being here.
But there were moments of laughter.
Yeah, there were a lot of moments of laughter.
It was nice to have you around. Yeah. It was very supportive.
It was supportive.
I appreciated it.
The comic relief that you needed. Because to me, everything in life.
Annoyed.
Yes, everything in life is a comedy.
The electricians,
yes.
The tree cutters, Georgia Power, the inspector showed up.
I was like,
It's too many. And William tried to warn us on the way back. There was just so many people in the
So
house.
many
I'm like,
people.
oh yeah, I'm gonna need you to stick around for a little bit longer.
So many people. And then one of your children was here, so it was like that extra added benefit.
Yeah,
the dog was
here.
going crazy because all these people.
All these people.
Right. And then the other thing was that they was tracking mud in the house.
Walking
and this
over
is a
my
shoeless
carpet.
house. This is a shoeless
You
house.
don't wear shoes in my house. They was walking over my carpet with their work boots on. I was like,
and as a good supportive friend, I made jokes about all of it.
She did.
I made jokes about all of it. It was just
I didn't know that's what I needed, but it made me feel better.
Yes, I was like, man, you're gonna have to scrub this carpet. This is craziness.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it
It looks fantastic.
I've been working hard.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah,
It smelled fresh.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
The illusion of freshness.
Well, it was fresh, but I could smell it. You know.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay, next, respect and safety. Feeling emotionally and physically safe with mutual respect for each other's independence and boundaries.
Boundaries
Boundaries
is
are-
such a. See what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about?
Boundaries is something, boy.
Black people don't know nothing about boundaries. Well, I'm phrasing. It's a lot of people
A lot of
don't
people
know
don't
about.
understand boundaries.
A lot of people
but
don't understand
There's a lot of
boundaries.
things around here that's like, oh, you don't get no privacy. You don't
Right,
close
right,
no doors in my
right,
house.
right.
So you don't learn how to put boundaries in place
Right.
when you're young. So then when
Right.
you get older and you need to, you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You
And you don't
do
know how to
that.
you don't know how to say it without offending someone. And sometimes no matter how you say it, you're gonna offend them. But
Yeah.
you don't know how you just don't know. Like I know that this is what I need, but I don't know how to articulate that. And I don't even know if this is a hard boundary or a soft one.
Yes, and you don't know what to do when somebody crosses the boundary. Like
Yes.
if they've done what you asked them not to do, then what?
Right.
What do I do from there?
Right. I was actually speaking to a relative of mine, and that's one of the things we were talking about, the line between discipline and abuse. And that's what I was saying is that because it can cross over.
Fast.
Discipline can turn into abuse really quickly. And one of the things I said is that in discipline, when you don't follow through with discipline, with strong-willed children,
I'm glad, buddy.
with strong-willed
Okay.
children or children that may not necessarily listen, or you don't know that they won't listen yet. The children are just rambunctious in nature, but you have to follow through with your discipline. So if you tell them not to do something, and the consequence of that action is punishment, and the punishment is taking away your devices, then you have to follow through with that. And then if that doesn't work, you have to continue to escalate the discipline until it reaches a point of where you found something that matches for them, because all discipline across
Doesn't work.
And so it's just the follow through. It's the follow through of the boundaries. You have a boundary. If someone crosses that boundary, what is the consequence of them crossing that boundary?
Yes, and in a relationship, like when you're choosing a spouse, if you
Yes.
tell them I don't like something,
Yes.
and they do it anyway. Repeatedly,
Right.
they probably ain't for you.
Right. They're probably not for you. And we're talking about commitment, partnership,
Right.
before you say the I do's, because if you say I do with somebody and you have joined them before God in marriage, now not to say that divorce isn't an option that can take, if you have already dedicated yourself, give it the old college try, as they say. Give it the old college try, and do your best to make sure that you have done and fulfilled everything you can. Right, everything you can. So the respect and safety, absolutely.
The emotional and physical safety of being with a person. Like you don't ever want to feel like somebody that you are not physically safe with another person.
Right.
If you ever feel like you need to flinch when they're doing something,
Right.
when they're next to you, like you're not sure what kind of touch you're gonna get.
I think that was a challenge once on social media.
It was.
Where they would like do like that and see if they.
See, I ain't even flinch.
Yeah, like not out here threatening you. I'm not out here
And
threatening
that's how
you.
that's a good example though of how
is.
it shouldn't be when you're with somebody that you know isn't going to harm you.
That's right. They'll respect you. They'll respect your boundaries. They respect your space.
And they respect you when you have something to say about your emotions, and they validate what you said.
That's right.
And try to work towards being better, depending on what you've asked them to do or not do.
Absolutely, I agree. Adaptability and resilience. The ability to handle life's challenges together and adapt to change.
This comes into play a ton when you have some kids.
Yes,
like
it
being
does.
able to adapt to having kids and realizing that you don't have the same time, the same
Right.
space that you did before you had children.
Right.
It's
Your
hard.
priorities are different.
Yes, and then like life challenges, like my kid being premature
Right.
and things
Oh,
like
absolutely.
that.
Your body
I didn't
trying to
communicate
recover.
well at all during that time to say like I was sad.
Yeah.
Like I was.
Yeah.
I just was like, oh, it'll get better when he comes home from the NICU. Oh,
Right.
it'll get better when he makes.
Right.
Like, it was always I'll feel better, and I was.
Right.
It didn't, and I didn't tell anybody. I didn't feel great
That's
either.
right. Absolutely.
I just kept it all to myself, and that like you can't do that sort of thing if you want somebody else to be able to help you out
Right.
in the struggle.
Absolutely. And then in a spiritual aspect of that, when you are connected to someone in any kind of way, we see it as someone should be able to pick up on there's something missing. I may not be able to put my finger right on what that person is missing or what that person is lacking. They should be able to do that. But you have to remember, when you're in a relationship with someone and you have a spouse, they are probably going through the exact same thing you are going through. They're experiencing the premature, even though you were physically and emotionally experiencing. They're also, so they may be detached as well. And so it could, and that's where a lot of issues come at. Like I say, in the changes and being able to adapt and be, able to just bounce back from that. It is really a challenge.
It is.
It absolutely is a challenge.
But okay. We got red flags.
Yes, red flags
to avoid. Controlling behavior. And this one just lists like time, money, friends. If somebody is telling you where you can and can't spend your money, who you can and can't spend your time with, and like the friends that they don't want you hanging around without valid reasons for why you shouldn't be hanging around them.
They're not alienating you from everyone else in the world.
If they're controlling everything about you, when you can leave the house, when you can take the car, even though you both make money, or even if you don't make any money. Like if you're a stay-at-home, whatever, and the other person...
It's my money, not our money.
Yes. You need to get up out of there. You need to find some way to make some money and get yourself out of that situation, because it's not going to end well and it's never going to be better.
Right. And we're not talking about when you're married and you're being submissive, which is a whole nother topic, and the depths of it, goes to another place. But when you're in a relationship, and sometimes there is control that has to be exhibited in a relationship, as long as that control is not manipulative or negative or has ill intentions, then, because there are, if you have someone, again, we talked about being married to someone that's a spender and someone that's a saver. If you are married to someone that's the spender, there is a level of control that you may have to take over.
Yeah, be like, hey, remember, babe, we said that we weren't spending money this week.
Right, and so the control is it's positive control, and it's a nurturing, and it's a loving, and it's different. It's not. I'm not trying to control your every move and alienate you.
That's
I think that's number one thing.
Earlier brought food home, and I said, "Ooh, can I have another one of these wings?" And he just nodded his head and said, "Since you didn't eat breakfast this morning."
Right, absolutely.
And I was like,
"Yeah."
Yeah, I didn't eat. He said, well, yeah, because I said, your love language is bullying. He was like, no, it's self-help plus.
Yes, self-help plus. That's a good way to say it. I'm helping you. That's a good way to say it.
I'm the enforcer, because you need to eat, and you didn't do it, so I brought you food home. So I'm like, that is not something that I would ever call controlling. That is love.
That is
completely love, and trying to make sure that you're okay.
Right, absolutely.
And
if it's going to make you better.
I am out here living on a piece of water and some toast or something.
Yeah, you out here fasting. I mean, if you go fast, you need to put some scripture on it.
Might as well, because that's what I'm doing on a regular basis.
Some spiritual benefits from it. Another red flag is the inability to take responsibility or apologize. We discussed that early on in
about friendships.
The friendship shelf theory.
Apologizing is definitely something that you need to be able to do in any relationship that you have. Like I said, I apologize to my children.
Yes, I think that's the number one sign of I've become an adult. Because I mean, like I know how to adult now.
Yes, because when you're younger, nobody apologizes to you.
Yes, no
adult apologizes to you, and everybody expects you to just be able to do that when it's time.
That's right.
But nobody models what it's like to apologize.
That's right.
So you just have to do it when somebody says, "Say you sorry."
Right.
Okay, sorry. Right.
And the emotions that go with actually apologizing and changing from the behavior that may have negatively affected the person that you're apologizing to.
Right. And saying something like, "I'm sorry, the way I said that upset you."
Right. That's not an apology.
That's not an apology.
That's not an apology. Or when somebody says, instead of actually apologizing, they'll say the reason of what happened, and you be like, okay, is that the apology? They just do a recap of the reason what you made.
It's not an apology.
Yeah, it's not. You didn't say I apologize.
I apologize for upsetting you. Right. I apologize for saying that the way that I said it. I realize now that wasn't something that you needed to hear in that way.
All right, and then offering behaviors that are things that you're going to do to try to change that behavior.
Yes, what is now the repair?
I apologize, but in the future, what I will try to do is, or I have made note of that thing.
Yes. Recognition and repair.
Recognition and repair. That's right.
Okay, high drama and constant instability. Lord help.
God.
Now, in your early 20s, the drama of it all is something that people just tend to look for, tend to have, tend to want.
They feed off of it.
You feed off of it because it's interesting at the time.
Let me tell you something. If you grew up in chaos and dysfunction, you don't care nothing about that. Some people don't. Let me restate. There's two sides. One person that turns into it, and they just keep it up, and then another person like, you know what, I'm gonna get far as away as I can from there.
Yeah, I'm gonna get
and when you recognize it, and people like, you know what, you're not somebody I want to be connected to.
Yes.
You got high drama and constant instability.
And I don't need that.
I don't need that. I got enough.
Somebody that is constantly keeping you on your toes about just the little life things and how things are going to go today and how we're going to be, I have to walk on eggshells because your attitude is off today.
Right.
Like, no, if your bad mood does not put me in a bad mood.
That's right.
Just because like William's he's upset today,
Right.
That's cool. I can do things to try to make him feel better.
Right.
I can do little things that I know he likes.
Right.
But I should not now be in a bad
Right.
mood.
Right.
It's not me. I didn't do it.
Right. I'm not pouring into negative Nancy.
Yeah, I didn't do it.
Yeah,
So
you know.
we don't need to both be upset because you're upset about something else.
That's right.
And some people will in a high drama relationship be like, well, why aren't you mad? Like,
Right.
or they turn on you and decide to make you the problem when you ain't did nothing.
Like, you're like, no, somebody got to be sane and stable.
Yes,
Somebody
we
got
both
to have
need
some
to
sense.
be.
We both need to be. But if somebody's not, pull me to where you are.
Yes.
Pull me to the place where you are, centered and you are positive and you're forward thinking and you're solution based.
Yes, solution based is ooh.
Yes, we trying to fix this thing.
We're trying to fix it.
Yes.
Okay, then you got significant misalignment and long-term goals.
Oh, God,
If I'm saying, listen, I want to go have 10 acres of land.
Right.
Live on a farm.
Right.
I want to be on a homestead where I'm out here living and making all these. And you tell me that, hey, I want to live in a city.
Right.
I want to live in a condo in the middle of downtown Atlanta.
Everything we saying is completely the yin and the yang of it.
Yeah. But at some point,
there is no middle ground.
There's got to be some middle.
Yeah, there has to be a middle. There has to be some middle. How about we live in the country, or if we live somewhere where it feels like we're far away, but there's only a 20-minute drive
to where we need to be.
Yes. Now that is a good compromise, and that's something else. Now this doesn't list it, but compromising is absolutely a big deal.
Yeah. So like if you can't say that I can compromise on the long-term goals that I have, then you and this person are not compatible.
Are not, and
it might hurt to say that because you feel like you're compatible on every other level. But if you want kids and I don't want kids, like that's a big misalignment.
That's a big misalignment. That's a huge, and it can't be a situation where saying I don't want kids now, but maybe in 10 years I will.
Yeah,
I don't want to bake on a maybe.
Because what if I'm with you for that long and you say never mind, and I really want these kids?
Or what if in 10 years I don't have the ability to be able to have children?
And I wanted them now, but you said you made me wait. So no.
And it's another thing to already have a plan, and maybe things don't go according to plan.
That's
and
different.
You have to shift and you have to adjust. I think I watched something. It was like people's like this is they have the little meme that says my plan and God's plan. Mm-hmm. My plan is just straight up and from here, and his is all over here and everywhere else. Yeah. It said if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Yes.
Yeah, that's been my life.
Yes. Yeah. Now there's nothing wrong with making some plans, but
right. Having the flexibility and the ability to be
and
able
the adaptability
to be and resilience to be able to change. So if there is a significant misalignment in long-term goals, it could absolutely be a deal breaker, especially if there is no compromise that's available.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
So some important considerations are friendship. A solid, enjoyable friendship is the foundation of a lasting marriage.
You can't have fun with the person.
If I don't like you, I mean,
I'm just talking about catching a laugh. She like, if I don't like you.
If I don't like, because sometimes,
it's gotta be.
You
fun.
gotta like this person you talking about spending the rest of your life with.
Mm-hmm.
Like he gotta be your homegirl or your homeboy.
Yeah,
you know what it's like when people say, "Well, he's my best friend." I mean, he's a friend. He ain't my best friend, but he's a friend. Like I see him.
He's a great friend.
He's a great friend. Now he ain't my best friend
That's
because
funny.
If I gotta talk about him, what if I want to talk about him? Who I'm gonna talk about? Well, let's see. Look, listen.
Like you do now.
Me. This doesn't work for everybody because you have to have a partner or a spouse that is in tune with who they are. They already know who they are in God, and they already have a solid foundation. Yeah. They are a self-actualized, emotionally intelligent, spiritually connected person. All of those things. All of those things.
Rewind it if you didn't.
Yeah. if you have one of those people, then when you have a complaint or an issue arises and it involves that partner,
you just take it to him.
You just take it to your partner. Listen now, my husband is a counselor. So I need to be counseled.
To tell you what you did wrong.
To talk to you. I'm not talking to the professional. I'm talking to the spouse. Or I'll do that sometimes. I need to talk to the professional. I don't need to talk to the spouse. I'm talking to the professional about the spouse. Can you separate the two right now? And he absolutely separates the two. Now, can't he do that with me? He can now. Now, before, don't come to me with that nonsense. I don't want to hear that. You better go find somebody else to talk to.
Find somebody else.
Again, that was immaturity in our relationship.
And
I've blossomed. I've grown. I've turned into myself. He's poured into me, and I've become mature. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, talk about your problem to your problem. I mean, if you wanted to get resolved, if they're emotionally mature, you know. Absolutely.
Chemistry and attraction, while important, it should be balanced with character. Now, I did say that earlier. Yeah. Just because somebody's attractive, does not make them a great partner.
Does not make them a great partner.
We were talking with my husband earlier about how sometimes you look at them. And he's talking about how men are very visual, and you might look at this woman and you be like, but then you go sit down with her and she sounds like a bird.
Bird brain.
That's what he said. A bird brain. You ain't got nothing going on up there. So you just look good on the outside. And you spend a lot of time on that, but you don't spend any time figuring anything out on the inside.
That's right.
So chemistry is important, but so is character.
I mean, and the most attractive thing you can find is someone that's intelligent that meets all of the things on your physical list. You know, they might not necessarily meet all the things on your physical list. You know, let me explain that. They might not meet the things on your physical list, but there is a physical attraction that draws you in based off of their intelligence, based off of their emotional intelligence.
It should be everything that ties it in together.
Everything that
things
ties
that
it
are
in.
going to last
That's
once that person gets old and they no longer look the way they look now.
Right.
So that is the balance.
Something has to be more. My heart and your heart has to be so intertwined.
Yes.
What you see is what you get. Do not expect someone to change significantly after marriage.
Yeah.
Even if the possibility of them changing is there, you have to take them for what they are now.
I'm marrying you based on the fact of who you are right now, not based on what I think you're going to be at some point in the future.
That's right.
If you are you can't communicate now and you have no desire to want to learn how to do better, it's always a desire to want to be better. Yeah. So you know that things are wrong, but you have no desire to change. Or when people say stuff like, that's just who I am.
Right. I think I'm gonna
leave you where you at.
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely gonna leave you where you at.
If you have no desire to be a better person, to recognize and be self-aware, to say, hey, this is an issue. I know I do this, but this is an issue. I need to work on it. This is an issue. If you're not trying to change anything, then I can't deal with that.
And I think it should be the name should be actionable desire. You have to have actionable desire to be able to say that, okay, these are the things I desire, and these are what I'm going to do to make that happen. Actionable desire.
I like that word. Actionable desire.
Yes, I just be making up stuff on the fly. See how my mind goes? Just be there. That might be a real concept.
Okay, we'll have to do this part quickly.
Yes. So there are some biblical truths or biblical traits behind that. One of those things is, does this person follow through on his word? Taking the Bible seriously will prove to be the best dating guide in the long run. And not just the Bible. Yeah. As I mentioned before, having someone that is that loves God.
Yes.
You know, if you love the Lord and you're loyal to the Lord and you can be a good partner to him, then I know you can be a great partner to me. Absolutely. And all of this comes from Proverbs 31. It talks about what a Proverbs 31 woman is, if you're very familiar with it. But you can also flip that and articulate that to what you would want to see in a spouse. And so the reference for that, which is, does that person follow through on his word, is Proverbs 31, verse 11. It says, the heart of her husband trusts in her. He is never worried about her faithfulness to him. He never has to wonder if she is using the money or dishonest and foolish ways. So Proverbs 31, verse 11. Okay. Number 2, does this person make you stronger?
Like we talked about earlier.
Yes, we talked about earlier.
Growth, supporting your growth, supporting your ambition, supporting everything about you and the things that you want to do in life.
That's right. And that's Proverbs 31, verse 12. And then the next one, is this person hardworking?
And that's not just about like, do you go to work and work hard? Right. Are you hardworking in general? Are you hardworking for the family? Are you hardworking for yourself? What are you doing for yourself, and what are you doing for us?
Absolutely.
And if you sitting at the house lazy, then you probably ain't gonna make it.
Closed mouth don't get fed.
Hello? Are you listening?
You just out here hungry, starving. Is the person hardworking? And of course, that's Proverbs 31, verse 13 and 16. And it talks about how the Proverbs 31 woman seeks wool and flax and works with willing hands. She is like the ships of a merchant. She brings her food from afar. She rises while it's still yet night, provides food for her maidens. She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hand, she plants a vineyard. And again, this is interchangeable with the man. Does he do these same things? Is he pouring into your household? Right. You know, is he a hard worker? Is he and she a hard worker? Number 4, is this person generous and hospitable? We discussed that.
Generosity.
Yes, and that's Proverbs 31, verse 20. And then number 5, is this person wise and eager to help others? Again, you ain't helping nobody else.
You can't help me.
You can't help me.
You don't want to help me.
That's right. Does this person fear the Lord? Is this person a believer? You know,
don't compromise.
Don't compromise at that point. Don't compromise on that. If you ain't afraid of the Lord, You ain't afraid out here and get crazy. You know what I mean?
You might be like, maybe I don't believe in all that, but you gotta at least be like, hey,
yeah, you gotta be
recognize
afraid
the power of it all.
You gotta be afraid that the Lord is gonna come down and do some things to be able to. And you know, it's a healthy fear. It's a healthy fear of the Lord, and that's Proverbs 31 verse 26. And then number 6, does this person truly trust Jesus? Again, trust in, rely on.
Yes.
Depend on.
Depend on the Lord.
Not being overcome by worry and all of the things that happen. You know, it's not to say there isn't a work that needs to be done, but I'm not stressing over it.
And having the peace that comes from God.
That's right. Proverbs 31 verse 25. And the ultimate goal of it is don't settle.
Yes, don't settle for things. Now, we ain't talking about like, oh, he ain't 6 foot tall, he 5'11". Come on.
Come on, settle for that, man.
We're talking about not settling for character traits, things that you want your children to see.
Non-negotiables.
Yes, things you want to. If you're having children with this person, what do you want your children to see? Do you want your children to either have a man like your husband or grow up?
Absolutely.
And be like your husband.
Right, because that's a good side note. One of the things that me and my husband are really big on is I want them to marry a man that has the characteristics of her. So in your partner, if you're looking at a partner and you think you don't have children now, but you think about, okay, we're going to build a future together, we're going to have children. Would you want your daughter to marry a man like him? Or would you want your son to marry a woman like you with those characteristics? You know, you're pouring into your children so that they can have a better life, so that they can be self-actualized, all of those things. So you have to be the example that you want to set for.
Making the next generation so that they can be better than you and carry on.
That's right.
You know, humanity at this point.
Right,
goodness.
the legacy.
We need things to be better.
Oh,
so
God,
at some
yes,
point, you
absolutely need to be better.
You got to make the next generation be better than you.
That's right, absolutely. So,
but yeah, all right, y'all.
All right, that wraps up this episode.
Find you a good spouse.
Found you a good spouse.
Learn some things about yourself.
Absolutely learn some things of yourself. Now, on the next episode that we'll discuss, it will be the identity outside of marriage and family. Because we've talked about finding a good spouse. We've talked about being a good friend. Who am I outside of this relationship? That's marriage. That's friendships. Who am I? Knowing who you are.
Who knows?
Knowing who you are in Christ has changed.
Yes.
So thank you for joining for this episode. We look forward to seeing you next time.
See y'all.